people are like, it's okay, like you don't have to share, like, if whatever you're not comfortable talking about. I'm like, no,
You're
it
not
helps
ashamed of it.
me. No, I'm not. I look back and I'm like, if I didn't go through this, like I wouldn't still, I wouldn't be the mom that I am today.
Welcome to Rumina's Story Hour, the positive breastfeeding podcast. Rumina is the Roman goddess of breastfeeding. These are her stories. Yeah, so I'm super delighted to have Melanie here. Or actually, again, I'm at your house. Not you're not at my house. And for this very special second episode of Rumina's Story Hour, the positive breastfeeding podcast. And gosh, I am really happy to have you on the show because I feel like we have a really special friendship.
We do. I cannot believe it's been 2 years. My daughter just turned 2. I'm honored to be a part of your podcast. And I truly I look back at those early days of being freshly postpartum and feeling just lost and overwhelmed. And I am so proud to say that I made it 2 years. So 2 years and counting of exclusive breastfeeding. Um, my goal was 6 months when I first started, and I did not even know if I would make it that long. Um, and then she turned 1, and I was so excited. I was like, "Yay, we did it!" And then she turned 2, and we're still doing it. And so I just look back and I'm amazed what a journey it's been, and just so grateful, like just having that village of support and friends and family and just not giving up. I really owe you a big thanks for helping me get here. Um, and I've just really loved this chapter with my daughter.
I like want to do something like take you back to the beginning a little bit because it's like really like now I think people listening to this would be like, oh my gosh, this person nursed for 2 years. They're a certain kind of person. They're the kind of person that would nurse for 2 years. And I would say, like, when I met you, you were not the kind of person
No, no, at all.
at all.
I was just almost ready to throw in the towel when we first started talking. I was overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, I don't know how to use this breast pump. I don't know how to store my milk. And I felt so confused because I had taken all of the classes at the hospital. Had talked to friends and did some reading and research, but nothing actually prepares you for when you're really in it. And I just, I was a mess for a few weeks, and I so I had my postpartum visit. I think it was 6 or 8 weeks with my midwife. And I just told her how I was feeling and just overwhelmed, just not sleeping. That was a lot of it. But my daughter was gaining weight. Like we had her first week to go back. We had her 1 week visit at the pediatrician, and she was back at her birth weight. Um, and she was growing beautifully. So I was really happy about that, but I still just kept questioning myself and just not having confidence and feeling like I was missing something or doing something wrong. It was just a really hard time for me. And so at my postpartum visit with my midwife, I was telling her, like, I'm just struggling to like wrap my head around everything. It was just so many things to remember, and looking at the clock all the time. Is it feeding time? Is it nap time? Like, I just didn't know, like, is it daytime? Is it nighttime? It was just a hard first couple weeks. And she gave me a flyer for lactation consultant, and it happened to be Carrie, who I met in the hospital. And I was super excited that I recognized her right away, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna save this flyer. Like, I'm gonna see how far I can get, see what I can figure out on my own for a little while longer, and then I'll give her a call.
So it was
And
like I was like a last resort.
yeah, yes, no offense to you, but I was just like, you know what? I felt like if I contacted you, I was like, that means I'm not capable. And like I was so
Wow.
determined to like figure it out, but then I was like, you know what am I doing? Like that is what she is here for.
So is yeah, so like so you like you're like that's like cheating or something? Like that's
Yes.
like you're
And
not
also I felt
you like had some standard you had to live up
yeah,
to
it was
that
like
like
a stigma or something like, oh, like if I have to do this, maybe I'm just not cut out for breastfeeding. And
if I have to get a
if
lactation
I
help.
have to get help, and what if it's overwhelming and I have to do all
Wow.
this stuff with insurance and I
Yeah.
have to figure out like how much it'll cost
Oh, that's a lot.
and I was already so overwhelmed. I was like, I don't want to deal with like having to make all these phone calls and like and then I reached out to you. It was the simplest process of just like, okay, just put in your insurance and someone will contact you. And that was it. And then you reached out and it was all, I mean, it just was such a natural, just easy transition. Hi, Loki.
Hi, kitty cat.
And and you came right to my home and didn't have to leave the house, which was huge because I had a winter baby and it was cold and it got dark early and I just had no motivation to ever leave.
Hmm.
And so that was amazing just having you come right to me. I didn't realize how easy it would be and I just felt like things started clicking. I would just call you like in tears.
You called me in tears like a lot, and it was wonderful. I'm not, it's not, I mean, it was not like a criticism.
You
It was just like, I just felt
you were like, you
so,
sound so sad. I'm like, I
you were
am.
you were so overwhelmed and
Yes,
so sad. And
yes,
I just, you know, I would get off the phone with you and I'd be like, oh, this sweet girl, I could not leave you. I could not leave you without help. Like,
yes.
and um, I remembered you because I had met you in the hospital and I remembered you were overwhelmed then, but like no different than any other mom is overwhelmed. But what was different was you were taking the risk and asking for help. And and so like, this is what I do. I love helping people. So you ask me for help, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why am I struggling so hard? I have great, friends who have been through it. I have family who's there for me. Like it's not like we don't have anyone here for us. So
You
it
had
was just such a
Well,
mental roadblock.
you know what? It goes to show that you can have you like you mentioned, you took classes, you did a lot to prepare to breastfeed. You had a decision you wanted to breastfeed.
Yeah.
You had done some prep work and you had a great milk supply. So like this is a situation where I think a lot of moms are uh, have this is the purpose of the podcast. A lot of moms have heard a lot of negative stories, and you were no exception to that, right?
Mhm.
And so it's like we come to it with anxiety, but then we also come to it with other people's anxieties and stories. And you had such a like you kept looking for the wrong for the shoe to drop. Like this, you could not see or believe that it was going well
Yes.
when it was going like you had everything was fine.
I like convinced myself that my supply was dropping and like
Yeah.
you were like, what are you
What are
talking
you
about?
talking
That's
about?
not true. How much did you pump today? When did you pump? Like, are you eating well?
And
Are
you
you
were only
drinking
pumping
well?
because you couldn't handle not pumping. Because you
Yes,
had to see it. You had
that
to
was
measure it.
exactly. And
It
like,
was like
Well,
your whole thing was not the process. The baby was latching great, the milk
yeah,
supply was great, but
I
like
felt like I
you're
had
like
to
so
come.
many moms.
I felt like I had to do it, and because I didn't understand like what I was doing, and first of all, like why do they not teach you this stuff in the classes? Like they really just completely skip over breastfeeding and lactation. Like they just I mean, of course, the birth is like the main thing that they talk about, but I feel like having that postpartum, taking a postpartum class while pregnant would be so helpful. Just having that, like, here's what to
It's a
expect.
great idea.
And it's something that was never offered to me, and I've never honestly thought about it until now. But just giving you those resources and having someone say, it's okay if you feel overwhelmed. And I don't think anything would have prepared me for how overwhelmed I was, but I just would have liked to like have that resource before it got as bad as it was. Just like, here's some lactation
I don't think
consultants.
there's any, okay, so I don't think there's any mom that's not overwhelmed.
Yeah. And
Being,
that was good too. I was
being,
not alone in that.
okay, if there's like what motherhood is, it's being a fool,
Yes. So true.
right?
Yeah. It's like,
But we don't know that when we become moms.
yeah.
And I'm sure it's true with dads too,
Yeah.
you know, but we don't know that. And then we become that. And then we think that we're supposed to be not that
You
and that
feel like
other
you're doing
people don't
something
feel
wrong.
that
Yeah.
way. And like,
I know. That was the thing. It was like, I didn't think it would be, you kind of just have this expectation that, okay, once I go through delivery and labor and delivery and have the baby, things just naturally fall into place. And that's not always true. Like it takes really a lot of practice and consistency and just not questioning yourself every day. Like if all you did was stay in the house and breastfeed your baby all day, then that's great. And I felt like I wasn't doing enough by doing that. I felt like I had to be more productive. Like I was just had these like super high standards for myself. And I'm like,
tell
why
me
am
about
I working so
tell
hard?
me about what you thought you should be doing.
I thought that I should be out taking walks and with my baby in the stroller and going to the store and grocery shopping and shop and like enjoying my maternity leave. And I cried so much the first few weeks. It was like really, and one of my friends who was a huge support system was like, just give yourself 8 weeks. First 8 weeks are the hardest, and then there there's just this light at the end of the tunnel. And it's like, okay, all right, I'll give
And
it
to
eight
be
weeks.
fair, you postpartumed in the winter
Yes.
and it's very hard to it is
Yes.
really, if you live in a cold climate, you can't even go out with your baby stroller if you wanted to because
Right.
it's like freezing
Right.
outside.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I was stuck in the house and wasn't getting any sunshine and wasn't able to,
Yeah.
get any fresh
It's a lot.
air. And I was just dreading every day. And it's weird because a lot of people talk about um like the sundown scaries. And for me, it was the opposite. Like I didn't really mind nighttime. I was just every morning I would feel like, oh my gosh, like what am I gonna do today? Like I don't want to just sit here on the bed and not do
So
like I
there
didn't
was,
feel like I was like doing anything worthwhile. And I look back and I'm like, I was growing my child and nourishing her and breastfeeding and like bonding. And when you're in the moment, it's so hard to
was
see
there
that.
any, so it was like a lot of internal pressure
Hmm.
that you weren't enough, that you weren't doing enough, that you weren't like, it wasn't looking like the picture of what you should, whatever the shoulds were,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It was a lot of just
But like
feeling,
you were breastfeeding at
yeah.
yeah,
And I felt like it wasn't enough ever.
like you
Um,
were
Truly, I look back and I'm like, I don't know how I just didn't like throw in the towel. I just kept going. I didn't
To
I
be
was
fair, there were
determined.
so many times I thought she's gonna throw in the towel.
But you never said that to me. You
No,
never
I
encouraged, like,
I
you
would
could have
never.
just been like,
I
if this
would.
is too much for
Do you,
you, then don't.
no, I never said that. I never, because
And I'm glad
it's
you didn't,
it's
because
none of my business,
yeah, I'm
right?
glad you didn't let me give up.
I,
But you weren't
but I,
forceful and you weren't like,
no, it's never my choice. It's
you
your
knew what I
choice.
really wanted, I think. You could like sense that I didn't want to give up, but I'm sure you probably thought I would.
I didn't know, and it would have, like any decision, any other person, or particularly any woman, any choice you make, I'm gonna respect that. Like, but like I didn't. It's not for me to, and I'm wrong all the time. Like,
I
you
don't
know,
believe that.
well, because I'll be with a mom and I'll be like, wow, I don't know if this one does, she seems really like she's suffering or whatever. And then that's the one that ends up like
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my
You're like,
gosh,
you are my
it
greatest
and
success story.
you
And
really,
I,
I've told you that before.
yes. And I'm honored, like,
You really are. You really are, because you were in that dark place for a
for
bit.
a long time.
And
It felt like I was never going to come out. I felt like I lost myself. Like, I didn't know who I was. Like, I just felt like it was just such a foggy time. Like, my head was just not,
I
I would
think
just
what
didn't
was so
feel all
great,
the way awake. I
yeah,
was
but
not
what was
sleeping.
so great is that you were just so vulnerable and so raw, but you were just being so real with me and so real with yourself
Yeah.
about where you were at. And
Yeah.
like that's
I felt
what's
like I could open up to you. You were easy to just let me feel like I could be me. Like I
yeah.
didn't feel judged, and having that was really important. Like I just there were certain people that I could open up to about everything, and you were definitely one of them. I just felt a lot of different like emotions throughout the process, just shame, confusion, guilt, like, but
I
breastfeeding
know.
was one thing that I felt like I could do, and I was doing a good job with it, but I don't know why I just felt so like
Yeah.
it was just
It's a like your brain's being
yeah,
seriously hard, right,
yeah,
rewired,
yeah.
right? We have sort of an idea that like of what our baby is going to be like when they get here. And this fantasy, like we, even as if you think about having babies with a little girl, you're like, oh, someday when I have a baby, and and like, oh, it's going to be like this, and it's going to feel like, and you just think it's going to be this sort of like perfect, magical, and breastfeeding is that. When you get into
Yes.
those quiet moments, you definitely, that's the natural state of things, yeah. But there's also this whole other part where they're crying.
Yes. The crying, I mean,
and you're and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, and like this person doesn't look, sound, smell, feel anything like what I imagined
oh,
them.
100%.
So circling back to the positive, like we were talking about the dark times that you felt, and I kind of, how much of that do you think, if you could put percentages on that, how much of that you think was like the influence of other people versus the internal part from yourself, or pressure from, say, where do you think the pressure came from?
It was definitely outside pressure. I feel like it was probably 90% outside pressure. And then there was like 10% of me just feeling like I was supposed to give into that. But like, I feel like most of the noise was from the outside. And then me just kind of second guessing and thinking that I wasn't doing it right if I'm not pumping early enough. Like, if I don't pump early enough, I'm not going to get my supply established. And my supply was already there,
So
but
you
I
were
didn't
you
know.
were getting a lot of mixed messages from a
Yes.
lot of different sources.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like I've this obviously I was a first time mom, so I had nothing to compare it to. I didn't know what it looked like to have a normal supply. I didn't know what it looked like to have an
like a
undersupply.
analysis paralysis thing where
Yeah,
you go, you're like, look on the internet, read this article, and then
right.
like ask this doctor's group at something,
Yeah.
and ask your friend, and ask your mom, and ask,
Yeah.
and then
And I was trying to like relate to anyone and everyone. Like, is this normal? Like, am I doing this enough? Am I doing this right? And everyone was trying to be like as supportive as they could for me, but I just felt like my own like intuition was wrong, and I needed a lactation consultant to confirm.
yet another voice.
Yes, I needed another voice, but this one a true professional and not just a random internet
Well,
article.
I think too, it's the amount of time that lactation consultants can devote to you versus other healthcare professionals that
Yeah,
have like a 5 minute window to
right.
tell you something, whereas we
Totally.
can come to your homes in many
Yeah.
cases. Sometimes you have an appointment, but our appointments typically last an hour, hour and a half.
Yes.
And so we get a
So
lot of
nice. You
time
could
to
ask any
any
question.
question,
And even though
work on
our,
positioning, work on supply.
yes, having, and then also having a pediatrician that was a lactation consultant, I was like, okay, this is great. And I can ask her all these questions. But then when you're there for your checkups, like they're very quick
Mhm.
and you don't really feel like you have the time to ask them these lactation questions. Like you're in a doctor's office, you're not comfortable. It's not a comfortable setting. You're not sitting in a comfy chair like you are at home. And they were even like, you can bring your pump in and we can show you like how to use it. And I mean, she was giving me good suggestions about um, just, I don't even remember what questions I had for her. I think it was really like she helped me do like some good latching positions, but I still didn't have that like support that I was really seeking, like the
So
one-on-one
even if you
time.
have a consultant at your doctor's office, you can still have, a lot of people don't know that, you can still have the other care depending on your insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was so for mine though, like I know certain doctor's offices have like you can make a separate lactation like appointment. I don't know if you can at mine, but it was that was never really like offered to me. I just knew that when I was looking at pediatricians, I wanted to find one that was
Breastfeeding friendly.
breastfeeding friendly,
Yeah.
lactation consultant, because I was persistent. I really wanted to breastfeed, and so I wanted someone that could support me on that journey. But um, I didn't really feel like fulfilled when I asked her questions. Like I just felt
Yeah.
rushed. I didn't feel comfortable. Like
Yeah.
I had, my husband and newborn with me, and I felt like we just had to get out of there. I didn't want to risk getting sick and like all of that stuff.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
I was like kind of ready to leave. Like after our appointment, I didn't want to stick around and like ask questions. So
So when you, if you were, let's let's shift the focus now to, if you, when you have it to do it over again, when you have your second, but
when and if
also like, if you're, what would you tell yourself, and what are you going to tell these moms that might be listening, or these pregnant moms? You came through this, you have gifts to give. So what are your gifts to give? What do you want to tell them?
I would say do not give up. You've got this. As challenging as it might seem, as much as you might think I wasn't made to do this, I'm giving up. Like just seek that support. Just know that there are resources out there. Just lean on your village, lean on your friends, your family, like give yourself time, give yourself grace. I know everyone always said that to me, and I was just
Just,
didn't want to believe them.
it
Like,
felt like,
okay, whatever. Yeah,
okay,
like so
whatever.
cliche. But really, I mean, those first like 8 weeks were the hardest thing I've ever gone through. And then all of a sudden I just woke up one morning and I was like, I feel like I have this under control now. Like I didn't think I'd ever be able to leave the house before 10 a.m. again or before 1 p.m. Like I wouldn't be getting out of bed doing anything until like afternoon. And you just have to get in this new rhythm. And
Was seeking help for the postpartum depression part of your story?
yes, 100%. The shift in hormones after you deliver is it's intense. And it's not saying this to scare any moms, but if you do have a history of being on any kind of medication, like make sure that you talk to your providers about staying on the medication if it is safe for pregnancy, if it's safe for breastfeeding. Of course, they're not going to give you anything that's not, but just making sure that you take care of you. And if you're not happy and you're not taking care of yourself, everything is going to suffer. Like you really
Yeah.
need to put yourself first so that you can
Mm-hmm.
take care of the baby and make sure that the baby's happy and healthy.
Yeah. So you came out of that kind of dark tunnel and you ended up you're still nursing
I'm
and
still
she's
nursing
two.
and she's too. And
And
I
so tell me about that. Tell me about that. Okay, you made it to a year.
made it to a year
You
and
were
then
never going to you weren't even going to breastfeed past 6 months.
I know,
Then
I
you
know.
made it to a year. Then you were like, I'm going to keep going. And
Why?
then
Yeah,
when
it's like,
she turned two, I got a call from you. How do I stop?
what do I do? How do I wean? I'm like, my husband is like, so every morning she wakes up and that's the first thing she wants to do. She's like, nurse, nursey. She says,
Yeah.
nursey. So
Oh,
cute. And
okay. So,
so,
a lot of people think nursing in the second year is nursing in the first, and it's not at all. People
yeah,
think, oh, you're nursing around the clock in the
no,
second year. No, no,
yeah,
no. It's
exactly.
usually like settles into like 1 or 2 times a day.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's a little bit more, but it's so quick that, and
Yeah.
I'm curious about this too. I'm like, does she just, obviously at this point, it's not a hunger thing. It's not, it's like she could just be bored and just wants that comfort. It's a comfort thing for her. Like if she is, like she could just be playing at her table and then she sees me sitting on the couch and she comes over to me. And there, I'll be honest, like there are times when I'm like, okay, I really don't want to right now. Like I'm trying to eat dinner. Like let me just give me a minute. And but I'm grateful that like I am her source of comfort, and that makes me not want to completely, like obviously this is not going to go on for long, but I don't know when I'm going to be like, okay,
Hmm.
this is enough. Um
So you have made it to,
yeah,
okay, you have made it to the World Health Organization recommendation for breastfeeding,
that's right.
a minimum of 2 years, and as long thereafter as you and baby want.
It's crazy to think about,
Yeah,
but
right.
and also the fact that it
And
was
not that there's,
exclusive breastfeeding.
yeah, that was important to you.
Yes, that was like a hurdle that I wanted to overcome too. Like when I came that, like once I had made it to a certain point, I don't know, maybe once I made it to 6 months, I was like, okay, if I make it to 6 months, if I've made it to 6 months, then I don't want to ever introduce formula. Like it was almost like a challenge that I had set for myself. Like if I've come this far, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go back. And
Hmm.
like I felt like I wanted to keep pushing forward and like challenge myself and be like, okay, let's see if I can do a year. And then I hit a year, and it's crazy how just like knowing that what a struggle that was, but how I overcame it was just not looking back, like just looking forward. I felt like too, like I don't want to say I felt alone in my struggle, but I did feel like I didn't know anyone else that had suffered with it as intensely as I did. But I was like, I feel like on an island about that. Like I didn't feel like anyone actually knew how I really felt, but and that's okay because now I feel like happy to share my experience and I don't want to hold it in because I'm proud of myself for overcoming that. Like I feel like
I'm so proud of you.
I'm like people are like it's okay like you don't have to share like if, whatever you're not comfortable talking about. I'm like no, like
You're
it
not
helps
ashamed of it.
me. No, I'm not. I look back and I'm like if I didn't go through this, like I wouldn't still, I wouldn't be the mom that I am today. And I feel grateful for that struggle in a way because now I look back and I'm
How
like, if
much you've
there's an,
evolved as a
yeah,
person just
yeah,
from I think we don't talk about that enough either. Like it's and all the time, like the times I've done these stories, you're the second recorded story that we always end up talking about more than breastfeeding,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because it's really about like
how you
you
got
you're
here.
evolving, you go through this unbelievable transformation as a person, as a parent, as a
Yeah,
mom or dad,
yeah,
as a and you like literally have your brain rewired. You have your
yes,
psychology reworked. You have
yes,
your and then it's such an opportunity for evolution of your
yeah.
it's
And like I'm working full time. I never thought that that would be possible. Like I never thought I would make it this far breastfeeding, like, and it just happens. Like, it's not even something that you have to like try to force. Like, you just wake up and it just happens. And
yeah.
um, I
And I
just,
I do I call you like it's you're your greatest success story. I say you're my greatest success story. But that's because you were so not feeling like you were going to make it. I mean,
I know. I was like, I
you were
didn't
like, I'm not
feel,
going to make it another hour.
I know.
It was like watching somebody run a marathon and like you're just off the starting line and you're like, I'm not going to make it.
Yeah.
And then here we are, we're like 2 years into it and like you're just like a seasoned runner now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I had that experience because it gives me, first of all, perspective that I can share with other moms that are feeling this way, but also if we do have another child one day, like I have this experience to look back on and be like, this is temporary. I felt like it was
And
in the moment, I felt it was permanent.
you'd be like, yes, it felt permanent.
Yeah, that was the real that maybe that is what I want to say was like my darkest moment is just thinking that my sense of self and like my reality, like everything was permanently changed, which it was in a really bad way. Like it was just like I'm never gonna feel the way I used to feel. I'm never gonna enjoy the things I used to enjoy. Like, but eventually it just got to the point where I mean, obviously the medication helped me significantly. You helped me significantly. And having that support, the close friends, the mom group and my family, but
And the
I
breastfeeding.
in the breast and I yes,
People, a lot of times people want to, the first thing they want to do is take the breastfeeding away when
and
mom
thinking
has,
that that's gonna help things. I feel like that would have made me feel
in some cases,
worse.
that
Yeah,
does.
yeah,
In some, but I feel like that's other people, like, if the mom is saying the thing I need to remove from this picture is that, okay, that's that if it's her choice, if it's what she needs. But I don't like it when other people are like, well, she'll be fine if she just wasn't breastfeeding. Well,
yeah,
you're taking away an opportunity. Sometimes the thing that like when everything else is spinning around you, but then you get the baby latch and you just lay there quietly, have that blissful,
yes.
magical.
the
like the
letdown, like that experience
the
of like,
oxytocin and
yes,
all that can be very, very healing.
yes, 100%. Like I remember feeling just like when I was, this is a, when I was pumping at work and I wasn't around my baby, I missed her a lot, but I would look at pictures and some of my favorite videos and like it would just really help stimulate those hormones and the oxytocin. And I think that
I
that
do want
helped a
to,
lot too.
it's a good opportunity since we're talking about breastfeeding with depression. Um, there is a condition called dysmorphic milk ejection reflex. And for some moms, the reason that they end up needing to let go of the breastfeeding when they're depressed is because when their milk lets down, they get a sudden drop in their dopamine
Yeah,
level,
I did experience a little bit of that.
and where you suddenly feel like really dark and
Yeah,
you can have really dark intrusive thoughts.
like a homesick feeling is how some people describe it.
That's a good descriptor.
Yeah,
I had a little bit of it. I remember for like a couple of seconds, I would get choked up and
yeah,
cry, or I felt like I was gonna cry, or
yeah.
I go,
I would
you know,
feel
and
like
then and then
dizzy almost and just like,
and then it was gone.
yeah,
It was like a flash.
yeah, it would stop.
But
And
I've also worked with moms that have it so bad that they're like, it's dark. I mean, it's like they cannot handle it's like bad. And then
yeah,
we just take even pumping, like we just take them off
yeah.
the and then
It only
they heal
happened
and get
for
better.
me. I feel
Hmm.
like it really only
It
happened
was brief,
pumping though. Like I don't even remember that ever happening with
not with the
breastfeeding.
baby.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I never really realized that. But yeah, I only felt like it happened when I was not with her. But yeah, it was definitely a weird feeling of just kind of like panic for like a couple seconds, but then it goes away and it wasn't every time either. So it was like at unexpected times that it would happen. Like, you know, I'm thankful that it wasn't every single
Oh yeah,
session.
yeah.
Some like I know some moms do go through that. And
Some moms do go through
that's
that.
so hard. Yeah.
And then you know, a lot of them just like end up like needing to let it go. And if,
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to let that go
Yeah.
if you have to let it
Completely.
go.
Completely. Yeah. That's totally
Yeah. But
reasonable.
um yeah, so but yeah, I just think it's amazing. Like you kept going and you got so fulfilled from the breastfeeding.
Yes.
So much. You love it so you don't you
Yes.
just love it.
I
I don't think like people talk about how much they love it.
Yeah,
Talk about
it's
how you
not,
much you love it.
it's not, it's really something that's not talked about enough. I completely agree. It's like people feel like breastfeeding can feel like such a taboo subject. And I hate that. Like I hate that stigma around it because it's it's so natural. It just is like the best thing for you and your baby for bonding, for their nutrition, for their, their brains. Like it just gives me like a satisfaction knowing that what she consumed her first few months, well, obviously her like entire time of having um of not being on solids, she was only consuming breast milk, and just knowing that that was the best thing for her, that I gave her exactly what her body needed. And then, oh, and I want to talk too, I want you to put some of your input about the way that breast milk can change depending on the baby's, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so your milk evolves with the baby
Yes.
according to what the baby needs.
And I loved knowing that. Like I couldn't think of how
Yeah,
to say it, but yeah, like knowing that,
in real time.
yeah,
So it's not just like how old your baby is, because it'll evolve like, oh, this baby needs, you know, having a growth spurt. So we're going to
right.
need some more fats and proteins, and we're
Yeah.
going to need, you know, so the milk evolves and changes with the growth and needs of the baby and the immunity,
Yeah.
right?
So I knew that I was keeping her as healthy as
She'd go to
possible.
daycare, get exposed to a germ, come home, communicate that through the saliva in her mouth to the breast. Your body takes that information, that germ, into itself, makes antibodies against it, and gives it back to her in the milk.
It's
It's
incredible.
incredible.
That I mean, it's something that you can't even like recreate, I don't think. Like
No,
it's
no,
it's
it's not.
exclusive to mothers and babies. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
amazing to think about. I felt really good knowing that she, actually I think she was 2 weeks old and my mom had COVID. And I was worried about it, but I had this like in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, she's breastfed. She's going to be fine. And she never got sick.
yeah,
And she really didn't get sick very much at all her first whole year of
yep,
life.
yep,
She was very healthy. Um, and I was just glad that I know, like, that I was a part of that, that
yeah.
I helped build that immunity for her. Like,
Mhm.
it was a really amazing feeling.
Well, this has been such a fantastic
Yes,
story. Has
I feel like I've had like a therapy session just now, and
uh,
I love talking to you. I always love connecting with you and just talking about how far I've come. Like I'm so glad that you are in my life and that we have maintained this friendship. And I really would not have come this far without having your expertise. And I know you don't want me to thank you for all of this, but like truly, Carrie, like you have been a godsend in this journey for me.
well, thank you. I'm one of thousands.
Yes.
Yeah. So other moms listening,
Yeah.
find yourself an international board certified lactation consultant
Yes.
to be your partner in your journey toward
1000%.
wherever you're going, to help you be, to help you with your story.
Yes. Thank you
And
so
I want to thank
much.
you because you're like the trunk of the tree for me, the roots of the tree, because from you has sprung this entire network of other moms.
Yes, I know all of their like I'm like
All these other moms that I know because you referred, and
yes.
I'm just like,
Anytime someone asks me like a
that's the
breastfeeding
other
question,
reason
I'm
I'm
like,
like, oh my gosh,
you
I've
need to
met
be
all these
Carrie.
cool people
Yes.
because of you.
Yes. And we have our little mom
And
tribe
I
and
like, from when I look back
everyone.
to the first time or the first phone calls and stuff, I'm like, I would have never dreamed on those days that like we'd be sitting
Yeah.
here.
And I would be sitting here genuinely happy and
Just
smiling and
like it
wearing the makeup.
it
And
blows
like,
my
I
mind.
know I was a different person, but you can come out of this
Yeah.
and you will come out of this. You just breathe. It's going to be, just take your time. It's going to be it's a journey and it takes a couple weeks to really like readjust
Yeah.
your expectations and it's
And
an
you're evolving as a human. You're
yeah,
evolving as a person.
yeah,
And it's okay. You're gonna have some growing pains, but like you're
exactly.
gonna evolve, and you're just like becoming a more beautiful, rounded, grounded, powerful version of yourself. Yes.
Exactly.
Rumina's Story Hour, the Positive Breastfeeding Podcast, is a production of Lactation Arts LLC. Copyright 2025, Carrie York, all rights reserved. Rumina's Story Hour, Carrie York, RN, IBCLC, and Lactation Arts LLC, in hosting this podcast, inform you that this is for informational and entertainment purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. I am a nurse and lactation consultant, but I'm not your consultant unless you have signed the legal paperwork and we have an established agreement. If you are struggling with your own health or your child's health, seek help from your doctor, pediatrician, midwife, or lactation consultant today. In the case of an emergency, stop listening and call 911. We respect the choices and paths of all individuals. We promote the fine art and lactation practice of Carrie York and Lactation Arts LLC, but are not affiliated with any other company and have no other conflicts of interest to declare. We are compliant with the WHO Code of Marketing Breast Milk Substitutes and do not take advertisements from companies who are code violators. You can learn more about the art that Carrie makes at carrieyork.com. Follow me on Instagram at Carrie York, CARYYORK _ or purchase art from my Etsy shop, Carrie York, CARYYORK @Etsy.com. My private lactation practice is found at lactationarts.com. Thank you for listening and welcome to our community.